I think that both our men's and women's programs have really taken our entire athletic department to a different level, at least set the standard. Like, hey, this is what we can achieve. We can hang banners in our gymnasium at Freed-Hardeman, and so that's been exciting to see.
Hey, Lions fans. Welcome into another edition of the Coaches Show. This will be our last show for this semester and this year. And so we thought we'd bring in our athletic director, Coach Estes. Thanks for doing this today.
Appreciate you having me.
And we'll do a little sort of like State of the Union of athletics. So, Coach, let's start with basketball. Another national championship on the men's side this year. Our women's team had another really successful season, being ranked #1 in the country for a while. Tell us what your thoughts are about that and that success and how that's gone the last few years.
Well, I mean, just you said it. Having the #1 team in the nation in men's and women's, we're asking ourselves, has this ever been done at the NAI level, at the NCAA level, and then to have a brother and sister head coaches. I joked around a few times that this is the only time that's ever happened, and so just a lot of excitement around our men's and women's programs this year. They played really, really well. And that was really fun, but also just the culture that both of those teams had where they were unselfish, and that's different than what you see in college athletics. I think nowadays you have a lot of selfishness, and our student athletes showed that being unselfish and putting the team ahead of yourself, gives you team success. And so that was really fun to watch this year. So I think that both our men's and women's programs have really taken our entire athletic department to a different level, at least set the standard. Like, hey, this is what we can achieve. We can hang banners in our gymnasium at Freed-Hardeman, and so that's been exciting to see. But they've done it the right way as well. Quality student athletes, people that are getting it done in the classroom, getting it done on the court. So just the whole culture and the whole atmosphere has been really fun to watch. Both the Coach Stutzes build that up and also, I think, sustain these programs for the long haul. It wasn't a one and done. And obviously the basketball team, they just won 2 years ago as well. So the standard that has been set, I think, is something that we can continue to try to strive and live up to each year.
And then talk about, you mentioned the success, but we hosted national tournament events in men's, women's as well the last 2 years. The guys have hosted for maybe 4 years in a row now. Talk about how that's grown and how that's helped all the other programs as well.
Well, just, having championship caliber teams and championship caliber atmosphere on your campus when all of your athletes get a chance to experience that. When you're hosting a national tournament in basketball and your soccer team gets to come and participate in that, and your tennis team gets to come and participate in that, and the baseball team was at Kansas City at the championship game 2 years ago. When they get a chance to be around that, they get they can start to dream and put themselves hopefully in that spot as well. So it raises the level for everybody that's involved, because you see what it takes to get there. And then once they're in that environment, they get a little bit of a taste of just, that level and how you have to perform and things of that nature. So it's just really fun. And for our fans as well, we had a lot of fans that traveled to Kansas City and that traveled to Sioux City, Iowa for the women, so that they get a chance to experience that as well. But we've experienced it in our own gym, like you said, for 4 years in a row for the men, and then last year and this year for the women. We've hosted softball and baseball national tournaments as well. So, our programs are getting a chance to see championship caliber, play from their peers, and that's really cool.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit about baseball and softball. I know disappointing end. We're sort of right there on the bubble, and both teams ended up being out. But talk about their success this seasons and what you thought of the way they're growing.
Yeah, I mean, the baseball program this year, obviously, I get it. I've got a son that's playing in the program, so having a chance to see them up close and personal, they went through all kinds of adversity with their pitching staff, losing several of their top pitchers to injury. Arguably their top 3 pitchers to injury in the fall. And so just the adversity that they had to go through, I think they had one of the best offenses maybe in the history of the school. So just there's a lot of things that are positive. They've got a lot of underclassmen in the program. So hopefully Coach Trask can keep the momentum rolling with a good recruiting class. And I expect to see them back in the national tournament conversation again next year. I spent some time looking at it. My guess is they're probably the first team out of the tournament. So I was surprised that they didn't get in. So they were right there on the cusp. Softball team had just an extraordinarily high strength of schedule, and that's one thing that Coach Humphrey does every single year, and I admire him for the way he challenges his girls and he tries to get them to play at the highest level possible. And they had some young pitchers this year, and I think as they get more experience, we're going to see them back in the national conversation again next year. So lots of good things. I'll mention our women's golf program was ranked as high as number 26 this year. So they were right there on the cusp of being a national tournament team, which we've never had that in golf, a team qualify for the national tournament. And then the men's team in golf,
huge strides forward.
I mean, they were bagging five freshmen in a lot of those tournaments late in the year. So just a lot of excitement around a lot of our spring sports. The track team had all kinds of school records, and I think
a bunch of freshmen breaking those records.
Yeah, a bunch of freshmen breaking those records. So I think that we made some strides forward. We talked about baseball and softball, and they've been in the national conversation, but some of these other sports that haven't have closed the gap a little bit, getting a little bit closer, and that's been exciting to watch and see.
And then we had a big event at a baseball game earlier with the 250th America celebration. So just talk about some planning that went into that and how you felt like that went.
I thought it was great. We got a lot of feedback from that this was one of the best, if not the best event that some people had ever gone to at Freed-Hardeman. Just the family atmosphere. It was an unbelievable baseball game. So, I mean, you couldn't have scripted a better baseball game. And, the fireworks and all that. It was just, the weather was perfect. So that's something that we're going to try to incorporate every single year, and we'll rotate it around to our different sports. It's something that I think was really successful, and we're going to try to incorporate that more and more. But, this is the 250th year. President Shannon wanted to do something, semi-big, and, nobody's going to be around July 4th. So, just brainstorming what are some good ideas for things that we could do, what's more American than baseball. And so we decided to put it around a baseball game, and I think it worked. It ended up great, and everybody had a good time. And so, like I said, I'm excited about doing more events like that in the future.
I think we've tried to maybe have some tailgatey, everybody hang out outside at some basketball games or different sports before, but I think to your point, the weather was what really made this one so awesome. It was just such a great day. It was warm. It wasn't, January and 12 degrees or something like that. So
yeah, the weather was a big part, but getting the cafeteria to come over there and serve. I mean, there was just a lot of people that worked together to make that a success. So if we can continue to get everybody to collaborate and work together, I think we'll continue to be able to do that. And it's not something that we can do, every single weekend, but if we can do that, maybe every semester or once or twice a year, I think that would be really fun. And I think it was a great experience for faculty and staff, their families, but also for the students and definitely for our athletes. I mean, that was the biggest crowd, baseball crowd that those guys have played in front of, here for sure. So we had, 800 or 900 that went through the line, so we were thinking, probably around 1,000 at the baseball game, and normally you're talking, 200 or 250 is a good crowd. So, I was there. We all had a really good time. So, and then construction project finishing up. We're finishing up the tennis courts. Sort of a bummer with some of the delays for this year's group, but hopefully next year, that should be a really good place for tennis in the future. Yeah, we were really excited about his construction. Beth Ann Clayton, our head coach, at our Roar Awards the other day, she said if it would have been done on time, maybe we wouldn't have appreciated it as much. And I appreciated that perspective, and just this is going to be a fantastic facility for many, many years to come. for all of our tennis athletes. It was unfortunate that they didn't, our seniors this year didn't get a chance to compete on it this spring. Yeah. But, moving forward, we're excited about it. I think it'll help her on the recruiting front. It'll help her on the development front. Yeah. And it'll be a nice venue where hopefully our home fans can go and watch them play as well. Yeah.
All right. So any other last thoughts about the state of athletics at Freed, or something that you wanted to say to the fans?
Just continue to be. I've never been more excited to be a Freed-Hardeman Lion. And just really proud. I think this year we continue to push the culture of excellence a little bit farther up the mountain, academically, on the field, on the court. Like I mentioned before, some of those teams just being more and more competitive. So really excited about the future. We start flag football in the fall, besides all the other sports that we've already had. Esports had a really successful year this year, and they're going to be up over 20 on their roster next year. So just the athletic department continues to grow, continues to get better in academics and in competition. And that's really the whole package holistically. We're trying to succeed in all those ways. So it's a great time to be a Lion, and it's a great time to be a Lion fan, I think, as well.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate it. We're really excited for the future and for next year. And like I said, thanks for doing this today and talking to us for a few minutes.
Appreciate it. Go Lions.
That'll do it for another edition of the Coaches Show. That'll do it for this semester. Be sure to follow us on social media. Check out our website. Be looking out for the camps that'll happen this summer, and any other information that we'll be putting out. So thanks so much for watching. Go Lions.